In the world of professional sports, a single 24-hour window can feel like two completely different universes. And today, we're going to look at one of those moments in the NBA, where two stories were happening at the exact same time. One, a real-world tragedy that hit a team's community hard, and the other, a superstar trying to navigate loyalty and some really intense career speculation.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the somber events up in Minneapolis and how a team had to grapple with that. Then we're going to pivot to Milwaukee, where superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo is dealing with a whole other kind of pressure. And finally, we'll try to connect these two very different worlds and see what they tell us about the NBA today. So our first story takes us to Minneapolis. This is a place where a regular basketball game suddenly became the backdrop for a community that was really in a lot of pain. It's a powerful reminder that the world outside the arena, it never really goes away. Now, this wasn't for a former player or a coach or anyone in the league office. This moment of silence was for a member of their own community, whose life was tragically cut short just a few miles from where they play. The victim was a 37-year-old woman named Renee Good. She was fatally shot in her car by a U.S. ICE officer. And this all happened just a short drive from the arena, sparking protests and bringing this raw, incredibly real conflict right to the team's doorstep. And this is how the team responded. Head coach Chris Finch, he didn't just stick to basketball. He stood up and addressed the tragedy head-on, really acknowledging the community's suffering. It was a pretty powerful moment, seeing a sports leader step into a much bigger civic role. Okay, so at the exact same time this is happening, a completely different kind of drama is playing out over in Milwaukee. We're shifting gears from a story about community tragedy to the high-stakes world of superstar loyalty, and we're zeroing in on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So with all these trade rumors just swirling all season, Giannis comes out and says this. I mean, it's an incredibly forceful statement. He's making it crystal clear that he is not the kind of player who's going to publicly demand his way out of a city. And you gotta know, this wasn't just some one-off comment. Throughout the season, he has been trying again and again to shut all that speculation down, really trying to emphasize that his focus is on the court and on the team that he has right now. And just listen to the force of his words here. 1,000,000%. He's not just saying he's committed, he's practically shouting it from the rooftops. It feels like he's trying to fuel his team's hopes just through his own sheer willpower. It's a totally fair question, right? I mean, if the star player is saying all the right things, being so emphatic, why won't these rumors just die? Well, the answer really lies in that gap between how great one player is and how the team as a whole is doing. And here's the heart of the issue. Look at the huge difference between his performance and the team's. Giannis is putting up MVP numbers. I mean, just look at that stat line. But the Bucks, they're struggling, sitting in 11th place. And in today's NBA, that is the exact recipe that gets the trade machine churning. But all this talk isn't just about this season's record. It's about what happens next. So let's take a quick look at the contract details that put Giannis, and by extension the Bucks, at a really critical crossroads. Okay, these are the two dates that really, really matter. This fall, he's eligible for a monster extension. We're talking $275 million. But if things don't get better, that player opt-out in 2027 gives him all the leverage. For the franchise, it's basically a ticking clock. So you've got these two completely separate worlds colliding inside the same league on the exact same day. You've got a community crisis on one side and a contract crisis on the other, and both of them kind of pull back the curtain on the pressures of the modern NBA. So on one hand, you have the Timberwolves. They're forced to think about their role as civic leaders in the middle of a local tragedy. And on the other hand, you have the Bucks and Giannis navigating the relentless pressure cooker of performance and loyalty and hundreds of millions of dollars. Ultimately, what this really shows us is that being an NBA franchise is a kind of tightrope walk. They're expected to be these pillars of civic pride, but at the exact same time, they're operating as these cutthroat, results-driven businesses where loyalty is often tied directly to the bottom line. And so that really leaves us with a fundamental question to think about. In a league that's defined by both billion-dollar contracts and these really deep community ties, what do we as fans actually value more? The win on the court or the character of the league in the world outside of it?